Welcome to the ID Club and another National Fun League Week 6 in the books in the NFL after a couple of games last night. Josh Peterson and Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7 Sports with you on this Tuesday morning. Schaef, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. Another delightfully odd week in the NFL. I don't know that there's any particularly great teams in this league. And there's just a handful of truly heinous teams in this league. And they're actually just the teams that go play in Europe every week. They're just the two worst teams. No matter what, even if they're not, even if we think that they're good, if they cross the Atlantic, they have to be terrible. I speak from experience. My team did it for 2 weeks.
Two times
that they played did it for 2 weeks. Yep. We just saw the Broncos, who should have just demolished the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets, who might be the worst team in the league in America and in Europe. But But the Broncos were able to allow the Jets to hang around. Bo Nix looked like he probably was quarterbacking Auburn with this version of himself there.
Nice reference, Schaefer.
Yeah, and not great. Yet they still won. You give them the W, and then you get back to America where the games are better, but not all that much better.
Yeah, so if you're doing power rankings after week 6, figure out whatever the order is at the top. But number 32 are the Jets. Number 31, the Broncos. That's the current power rankings. And next week,
that was your week. That was your week 6 power rankings. No matter.
And next week it's Jacksonville and somebody. So the loser of that game will be number 32. I like this idea. That's pretty good because, dude, as someone who watched the Jets last week against my favorite team and left thinking, wow, are the Cowboys maybe going to be frisky? The answer is no. The Jets are just absolute garbage. And yet they kept it close against the Broncos because they had to fly across a continent. Oh, it's a West Coast team. It's Rams, I just realized. It's Rams, Jaguars. Dude, talk about a dumbass body clock game for Los Angeles. It'll be 6:30 on the West Coast when they play. 6:30.
Yep. Teams 31 and 32. Factor that in for whatever it is that you're doing here. Fantasy, gambling, any of it. Just know those teams are going to be bad.
Yep, they are. Bad. I got a text, Schaef, at the end of last night's game. The second
was it from Matt McMaster?
No, but it was from a guy named Matt. I did get a lot of texts from McMaster throughout the evening. By the way, he is a riot during football games, an absolute riot.
I just follow him on Twitter, and I'm just like, man, that guy is like a little kid with a sugar high that's just bouncing off of the walls. But he's also like completely in his feels, like he's a teenage love
dirtbag, baby.
Like totally emo. He's got a like good Charlotte vibe to him there too. I mean, I don't know what to do with them throughout the game. And then of course the Bears win on a walk-off field goal, and it's just
when it felt like they were settling for just a little too I was like, are they really going to settle for this 50-yarder? And then they able to have a nice gain, and it was shorter. But I still thought, really, like with this kicker, this is what you want to do right now?
The Bears fascinate me because even when it seems like they're a slightly better version of themselves,
which I think they are this year,
with the caveat that they're self-sabotaging at every opportunity they get. Like I don't know that I fully understand it, but
Jordan writes he's a young Jack Mitchell tweeting through his feelings during football games. Wow, what a way to describe. I'm going to tag both Matt and Jack just to make sure that they see this. So I got this text from a different Matt, and this Matt asked me, name the top 5 teams in the NFL right now with Samuel L. Jackson's character from Pulp Fiction pointing a gun at me. And I thought, wow, that's a fun meme. And I said, trick question, there are none. But then I thought this would be a fun exercise with Mike Schaefer because you and I have been Bills pilled for years. They lost to the Falcons last night. And don't forget, the Falcons lost 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers this season. Within the last month, that was a score that happened, Schaef. We have been Ravens pilled over the years, and they are maybe the worst team. They're not 32 because they didn't go over to Europe, but they're probably 30 right now because they didn't go over to Europe.
It's a shame my team can't play them when they're this bad, though. That's the worst part of it to me. Yeah. The Vikings are going to catch them when Lamar's back, and they're going to put up like 54 points in that game. It's when Lamar comes back, pray for those NFL teams because it's going to be bad.
Yeah, man, it's too bad the Ravens don't play the Cowboys this year. We could have the highest scoring game in the history of football if those two teams got to take on each other, but that will not happen. Now, Matt writes, again, a different Matt. There's a lot of Matts in our world. Tampa is on that list. Certainly, Schaef,
they're the only 5-1 team in the NFL. So
wrong.
No, I guess the Colts are 5-1.
The Colts of Indianapolis are also 5-1.
They got there differently, but the Colts are also 5-1.
All right, so let's talk through this, and we don't have to rank them just yet. I want to go through and have like teams up for consideration for this, so we can almost put them in the bucket, and then we'll figure it out. So let's just go division by division. Would you consider the Bills as a top 5 team currently in the NFL?
Yeah, they are coming off of 2 losses. They haven't looked particularly great in the last couple weeks, especially. But
their best win is over that bad Ravens team.
Yeah, I think we do the best win thing. You're going to disqualify a lot of teams because no one really is considered to be a best win. I can think of one team that has a best win right now, and that's the Eagles for beating Tampa. That's it. That's the entire list of best wins.
Wow, is that true?
Well, I mean, go through it and think about it.
Chiefs beat the Lions.
Yeah, I mean that's. But are we putting the Chiefs in the top 5 here?
All right. Yeah, maybe we need to move on with this exercise so we can figure out who these teams are because you bring up good points there. Patriots. Are the Patriots up for consideration? No. Okay. Dolphins. Obviously not. Jets, obviously not.
No.
All right.
No.
Let's get to the next division, and I'm only going to include one team in the AFC North. Do we need to consider 4-1? Okay, perfect. No Steelers, no Ravens, no Bengals, no Browns. We do need to consider the Colts, right? They need to be involved in this conversation.
Colts should be considered. The Jags should be considered.
Okay. And that's it from the AFC South.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The AFC West. Are we considering 2, 3, or just one team? Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs.
I think you're considering 2 teams with one team lurking. The Chiefs are now 3-3.
They're lurking.
I'm not ready to just pretend like those 3 losses and kind of the ambivalent play and the upside down offense. I don't think that's all gone.
They just lost to Jacksonville literally a week ago.
Well, they had a very nice game on on Sunday night against the Lions. Nice. And so for this week, they feel like they have returned entirely. Let's see what it looks like a week from now.
I like that. I like that caveat. NFC. The Eastern Division in the NFC. Are we considering any of the tems?
Yes, even though the Eagles have looked like massive ass for the last 2 weeks. We're still considering them.
Okay. They have a point differential of -1, by the way, right now. The Commanders, +32. We're not considering the Commanders, though, are we?
Nope, not considering the Commanders, the Cowboys, or the Giants.
What about if we're considering the Giants with Cam, Scattaboo, and Jackson Dart only? What about that? They're 1-0 version of the Giants.
The weird buddy cop movie that is the New York Giants is still not being considered for a top 5 team.
NFC North, Packers, Lions. Are we considering both of those teams as current top 5 NFL teams? You do have a bit of bias with this question.
I have massive bias. I think the Lions are definitely in consideration there. I don't know about the Packers. I mean, they have the win against Detroit. Since that win, they've looked exceedingly average. Now they did beat the Commanders, I guess.
They did beat the Commanders. Yeah, that's true.
Was Jaden Daniels injured in that game? Wasn't something weird
They hurt him in that game. That was that Thursday night game. I didn't watch a snap of that game. I actually saw a highlight of the injury last night, and I was like, oh, that's how we got hurt in that game. Because that's when I was gallivanting around the world watching top 3 Indiana.
Then you go to one of the worst losses of the season to the Browns.
Horrible.
The only tie of the season to the Cowboys, in which they gave up 40 points.
Tough.
And then they played the Bengals in what was maybe the least enjoyable 3-game window.
Gross.
Ever put together. I mean, it was really a 1-game window. If you were watching the other 2 games, you're a complete and utter sicko like ourselves. So congratulations. Sure. But I mean, they really struggled with a bad Bengals team.
They did.
I mean,
I don't think a team that gives up 40
I take
points
no joy in talking about how the Packers are, just so. It's not like I tried to point this out before the year. It's not like I tried to point it out after the Micah Parsons trade. They didn't beat anybody at all last year. They had the win against Detroit, and we were ready to refer to them as this amazing team. Their offense sucks. it's basically Josh Jacobs and hoping that Jordan Love can find an open receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not very good. And then defensively, I mean, that 40 burger just stares you right in the face.
You can't allow 40 points to be considered, like maybe we shouldn't make this a hard rule because how many points did the Bills give up against the Ravens?
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like, if we're going to knock the Bills for allowing 40 points or for playing bad defense lately, then it just seems like the Packers would be disqualified. I think they've also gave up the most points to the Bengals since the Bengals haven't had a quarterback. So, it's not exactly looking great over there. Now, their schedule, though. They have the Cardinals, then the Steelers, then the Panthers, then the Eagles, then the Buddy Cop movie, then the Vikings. I mean, they could rip off quite a few wins before they play the Lions again.
We do this exercise after Thanksgiving. They will probably be in the mix. But we're trying to do top 5 right now, and I would agree with you. The Packers are not in consideration for the top 5 teams at this moment in time. All right, to the NFC South we go. Obviously, the Bucs, because, again, they might be number 1 right now.
Nobody else.
No, nobody else, not even the Falcons.
The Falcons, I think, are interesting, but I think they just have to play certain teams. Part of their success against the Bills is they just probably put on the film of week 1. And, the Bills' rush defense has been an issue for them in the past. It's an issue for them again. And the Falcons have probably the best running back on the planet.
Hard to argue.
Apologies to Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. I'll take Bijan Robinson every week.
Your time is past now, old man. NFC West.
Old man in your early 30s.
Yeah.
Younger than the guy who just had a birthday the other day. So
3 teams, they're 4-2 in the NFC West. I imagine you and I are only going to consider 2 of them, the Seahawks and the Rams, for top 5 consideration.
Yeah, I don't. I don't believe in the 49ers, and I think the beginning of the end is starting to come there. It's the Seahawks for me over the Rams, but yes.
Okay. So I think we just named, let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Sounded like 9 teams to me.
There were 4 teams in the NFC.
Lurking.
Yeah, so we named 4 teams in the NFC. Seahawks, Rams, Bucks, Lions, Eagles, up for consideration. We named in the AFC, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We named Bills, we named Colts, Jags, we named Broncos, Chargers. So that's 9 teams that are up for, that's not too bad. 9 teams,
and then
we got to whittle it
Chiefs
down.
Lurking at 10. I think that's fair.
Chiefs lurking. I think that's very fair. And then probably after that is where you would find your Packers of the world, your Falcons of the world, your Patriots of the world. Hopefully not the Steelers of the world. All right. So that's 9 teams. I mean, the answer for number 1 right now, I think, is very easy. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Even though, see, and this is what makes this season so fun. Their point differential is plus 14. They are playing in insane games every week. They have not welcomed a team into Tampa and just kicked the crap out of them. Because normally when I look at the best teams, Schaef, it's a combination of the record, of course, but also they have that ability to just destroy you at any, given moment. Now, they also have dealt with a lot of injuries, and Baker Mayfield continues to play at a very high level, which is why if he keeps this up, he is certainly going to win the MVP this season. But that would be my one knock against them is they play in exciting games, but this is not the top 5 most exciting teams. This is the top 5 best teams. But I think we feel okay with putting them number 1 right now.
Well, I do because I have Tampa in my Super Bowl, so I don't really have any problem thinking that they're one of the top teams in the
bias yet again.
NFL because I already thought that before the year, so it's pretty easy for me to confirm that.
Okay.
The pushback on the point differential is they haven't been healthy at all this year. Not that anybody is at this point in time, but if you go through their list of who they're missing, and especially as we go forward, you don't have Ibuka now. You're already down Mike Evans. Chris Godwin has been slowed in even his return. They've gone through multiple iterations of an offensive line. They're on their 4th or 5th string guard. At this point, one of their 2 guards, they've run through that position. Defensively, they're missing guys in the secondary and up front, and they just continue to get it done. Now, you get no extra awards for being a team that survives a bunch of injuries. You still got to go win the games, but that's what they're doing currently. Now, will that continue? I'm not sure. I would also kind of point out they haven't had a chance to just feast on the AFC or the NFC South really, though, either, right?
Look at the teams they played. It's a lot of good teams.
Yeah, they're going to have, plus the Jets. I think the Jets is in there, and so that's kind of
and that was a game that they very much could have lost. They beat the Falcons, the Texans, the Jets. They lost to Philadelphia. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the 49ers, and they're about to play the Lions, and then they get the Saints, who are a little frisky. God, man, their schedule. Okay, it finally gets easy at the end. Basically, Schaef, they got to get through Thanksgiving because then it's a lot of dreck. They get the Panthers twice at the end of the year. They're going to get the Falcons and Saints again. They're going to get the Dolphins late in the year. So if they can get through this next month with like 2 or 3 losses, like they're very much playing for the 1 seed in the back half of the year.
I think if they can get through this stretch, Lions Saints, you go 1-1 there because it's going to be tough with what they are bringing into Detroit to win that game. Mm-hmm. Then they have their bye week. And then that following stretch, like, we'll know if the Patriots are good if they're able to take it to the Bucs, because I think the Bucs are going to be healthy at that point. So you're going to get the best version of Tampa is going to start showing up starting assuming no more major injuries on the 9th of November. Like you're going to have a pretty healthy Bucs team. And then that could
be fun.
The Bills are right after that. Then the Rams, so it's
big games.
Three games right in a row where, if they come out of that and they're 2-1 or 3-0, then we know for sure Tampa is maybe the class of the NFC. But
and it's gonna be fun when they get these guys healthy again, like to watch this offense fully come together for like the first time since like week 1 or 2 when that happens.
I mean,
that'll be fun.
How are you? If you're rolling out of there and you have Bucky Irvin, Cade Otton, those are your lower end skill guys on offense. Your 3 wide receivers are Evans, Ibuka, and Godwin.
So Mr. How do you stop them?
The most exciting rookie wide receiver we've seen in a long time. And then you throw in Chris Godwin, who used to be one of the most exciting, just kind of slot wide receivers.
And then Mike Evans, who was like the most consistent wide receiver of the last.
Yeah. And so you have that, and then you have Bucky Irving, who's just fantastic. His backup, Rachaad White, is probably the best backup running back in the league because he used to be the starter until he got supplanted. Yeah. And then you have Cade Otton, as I mentioned. And then you have Baker Mayfield playing at an incredibly high level. If that offensive line is healthy, like that is I don't think there's a better constructed offense in the league.
No.
And they keep hitting on these offensive coordinators. Like
it's wild.
It's just nuts. Like I'm over here celebrating the fact that Kevin O'Connell is a pretty smart offensive mind because that eliminates having to have like Mike Zimmer hire someone, which was a disaster almost every time other than Kevin Seifert. And then, beyond that, like the Bucs have lost their offensive coordinator every year. It hasn't mattered. Like just incredible stuff. And nobody even thinks Todd Bowles is a good coach. That might be my favorite part of it. I have a very good friend who's a Bucs fan, and every week it's just like he feels like they're just winning in spite of Todd Bowles, that the team rallies around the fact that they don't like Todd Bowles and that they're just going to keep winning, even though he puts them in dumb positions and does dumb stuff and stares at the Jumbotron.
He always has that look on his face.
Like Bill Simmons has that bit where the coach just can't believe that somebody's making these decisions, even though he's the one that's doing it. Like, it's just unbelievable. If there's a drawback for the Bucs, it's Todd Bowles.
It's Todd Bowles. Yeah, that you mentioned.
And the thing is, the guy's maybe the most. He's like the Mike Evans of coaches right now. They're just consistently stacking divisions.
We got to get to team number 2, but that run by Baker Mayfield on 3rd and long the other day was just insane. And then the next throw, I mean, it's just fingertip catch, just incredible stuff.
It felt like, because I had a tweet, and then my timeline was the tweet I had, the tweet you had, the tweet that Happer had. It felt like we were all watching it somehow in the same space and time. Had essentially the same, but our own sort of versions of reactions.
Yep.
And just
incredible.
Mayfield. I cannot. Happer hit me up the other day. He's like, "Where would Baker Mayfield rank on the Baker Mayfield Index?" And I was like, "Well, when that was created in 2021, we thought he was circling the drain. Now he could be circling the MVP." So,
yep, indeed. Congrats to you, Baker Mayfield. All right, team number 2. We laid out all of the candidates. Now, the team, Schaef, with the best point differential in the NFL, also is the other team that has a 5-1 record. How much consideration would you give to the Colts as the second best team in the NFL? Because here is the argument against them. They have beat nobody this year except for the Broncos, and that came under very strange circumstances.
Suspect circumstances.
Yes,
but you still get credit for the win.
Correct.
They still put themselves in position. Yeah.
We don't apologize for wins in the NFL, but they have blown out some of the worst of the worst. The Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders. I mean, the Dolphins are going to fire their coach. The Titans have fired their coach. The Raiders maybe shouldn't have hired their coach. They were taken not to the woodshed, but it was a back and forth affair on Sunday versus Jacoby Brissett of all people. What year is it? It's 2025, not 2016. That would be my argument against the Colts. You were been very biased today with the NFC North conversation. I will share my bias. I think Daniel Jones sucks, and so I don't want to acknowledge my faults, but I think you can definitely make a real argument that they are not the second best team in the NFL, again, because they have beaten up on nobody this year. But we don't apologize for wins in the NFL. Are they the second best team in the National Football League?
No, I don't think they are either. We don't have to put them at number 2. I think the argument for them would be, are they in the 5 at all? And I think they're probably number 5. So
okay,
that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So who would you argue right now as the second best team? Who is the team that if you're like a Hall of Fame voter, you know how you have to present your case to the committee? Who would you present to me, the committee of 2 people, as the second best team in the NFL through 6 weeks?
Yeah, so it's tough because I don't think any of these teams deserve it. Like,
it's crazy.
It's easy for me to pick the one. I don't know about picking the second best team in the NFL because it's
Lions are coming off a loss. Bills are coming off a loss.
Yeah, I want to say the Bills, but it's not the Bills. I mean, I think I'm going to end up answering a team that I don't even believe in, that I just mocked at the beginning of the thing here. For me right now, it might be the stupid ass Denver Broncos.
Oh, they beat the Jets by like a point.
I know, but here's why. I think their offense is good enough when it's working, that their defense being maybe they had that bad game against Indiana. I think the Broncos are probably my choice for the second best team in the NFL. I want to apologize for it. It seems odd. I'm putting them at 2, and then I'd have the Colts at like 5. Yeah. But I can't get to the Lions. I can't get to the Eagles. I can't get to the Bills. They all just lost this week.
Correct. By the way, my wife points out there are no good teams, only fun teams or boring teams. This exercise has never been harder. Matt says, no way I'm accepting the Broncos as team number 2. Schaef, can I present a team off the board? Are we sure it's not the Kansas City Chiefs? Are we sure that we're being idiots and that it should be the Chiefs and they are the second best team and maybe some of this is projecting down the road, but they have some real nice wins over the last few weeks? The Kansas City Chiefs are actually the second best team, even though they are at 500 right now.
So their nice wins are the Lions. Giants before Russell Wilson got replaced, and they struggled like crazy in that game.
The Ravens.
Nice wins are the Ravens, who didn't look like they gave a shit.
They did shut down Lamar Jackson.
Big portion of that. Yeah, no, I'm also like, did that look like a Baltimore team that really cared in that game?
No.
And then they lost to the Jaguars, in which a quarterback here's why they can't be number 2, Josh.
Because
Trevor Lawrence fell down and was laying on the ground in the most pivotal play of the season, and the Chiefs didn't get him stopped short of the goal line.
Very good arguments.
So no, the Chiefs can't be number 2.
G. Merle writes, I love the Broncos as team number 31 for going to Europe and number 2. We said they're the second worst team, and now you say they're the second best team in the NFL.
It's hard.
I don't think it's the
very
Broncos.
Difficult. I don't know. Like,
this is insane.
Okay, so if it's not the Broncos, you would go with the Chiefs?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm just trying to make an argument because I don't really trust any of these teams. I was toying for a moment with the Seahawks, and then I looked at their wins, and I said, I don't think it's Seattle. Could it be? Could it be the Rams of Los Angeles? Could it be the Rams of Los Angeles?
I can't explain why, but I don't think this is that good of a team. Like, nothing.
They have wins over the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, and the Ravens. They did not look very good in the win over the Ravens. They only won 17-3. They did stop Derrick Henry from the half-yard line 4 plays in a row, so congratulations to them on that one.
Impressive.
But Puka's hurt, and they're going to go over to Europe, and they're going to be the 31st worst team, or 31st
which means they could come back and be the second best team next week.
They could.
Yeah, I There's something about the Rams, and I didn't buy in before.
You don't buy into the Rams. You've never bought into Stafford. This goes back to even him winning the Super Bowl. You and John were debating how good Matt Stafford was.
Well, it's, the 49ers make a gift interception. We're not even talking about that Super Bowl.
Matt says if the Broncos and Chiefs played next week, who would you predict to win? Chiefs.
I
think their offense is coming together. And Rashee Rice is back.
Okay, well, give me that offense coming together against the Broncos defense. All
right. I mean, we'll see. Thankfully, we'll actually get to see that game 2 times this year. When did they play?
Their stretch of good games have come against the Jaguars defense, which is bad. The Ravens defense, which we've acknowledged,
terrible,
is bad, and the Lions defense, which doesn't have any cornerbacks currently.
Yeah.
So, some of this you can't count out Patrick Mahomes. And yes, he's good.
I was going to say, are you shitting on Patrick Mahomes right? Are you counting on Patrick Mahomes right now, Schaefer?
Don't send the Swifties after me.
Don't put it on the internet that Schaefer is counting out Patrick Mahomes.
But we can't discount other teams' wins or how they played, but then be like, oh, look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing now. And it's like, well, okay, but these defenses suck. We acknowledge that, right?
Fair. That's fair.
Nothing the Chiefs are doing is dramatically different than what they were doing earlier. They're just playing less good teams defensively.
Fair. That's a good argument. Riss says, I think the second best team is the friends we made along the way. Maybe that is it the Colts? Maybe it's the Colts. Maybe we just need to circle back to the Colts.
Can we just put the Colts at 5 and then we don't have to talk about them again?
All right, perfect. So we need to figure out.
Would you have the Broncos not in your top 5 at all?
No, I think that they belong there because of where the hell are they? There they are.
Because here's 5 teams, and we can debate the order however. It's Bucks, it's Broncos, it's Lions, it's Eagles, it's Colts. Those are my 5 teams right now.
Now, interesting, because I was going to mention the Eagles because, the hard part right now about this exercise, Schaef, is every time I click on a team's schedule, they have 0 wins. I look at their wins and I'm like, cool, everyone seemingly at the top has beat the Titans. Congratulations on beating the Titans. I don't give a shit. They just fired their coach. The argument for the Eagles is this. They went on the road to Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs. They hosted the Rams and they beat them in the strangest fashion imaginable. And they went into Tampa and they beat the Bucks, who is our number 1 team. They've lost 2 games in a row, including a 17-point defeat, though, to the New York Football Giants.
So on a Thursday night game. You gotta caveat it a little.
All right, fine. It was on a Thursday night.
But you can also caveat it a little bit with Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo.
100%. So if you are very much considering them, then I would say, all right, perfect. Recent losses don't matter, and then I would put the Bills higher, and I would put the Lions higher because I think those are better teams than the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's what makes this exercise so difficult. But they have, pound for pound, they have the best wins in the NFL, right? Nobody has a better trio of 3 wins than Chiefs, Rams, Bucks. By far.
Well, and now you're going to turn around and they get the Vikings after having a little extra rest, and then they get the Giants, and then they get a bye, and then it's the Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears. If they take care of business against the NFC North and win 2 or 3 of those games, they're going to have 10 wins here pretty soon. I mean, they're a definite playoff team. They're the best team in their division still, even with that loss to the Giants.
Not saying much.
It's not a great division.
Now,
but...
by the way, Riss, who is obviously a Philadelphia fan, writes, don't put the Eagles in your top 5. We literally don't know what offense is, and we don't have a defensive backfield. Schaef, I watch them, as not as much as the Cowboys. I watch them second most. They're bad. They have a lot of issues.
Here's the thing. They're going to play a team that has a worse offense in Minnesota this weekend. And then they're going to turn around and they get the Giants at home.
They just lost to the Giants, though. If you lose to the Giants, all bets are off. Them at home.
Do you think that they're going to lose to the Giants twice this season?
No, it's not that. It's more if you lose to the Giants one time, all bets are off on how good you are. One time with Cam Scadaboo and Jackson Dart. Dude, Brian Daboll went into the medical tent. That's a band of idiots in East Rutherford right now.
Rick Moranis beat Ed O'Neill down Cherry Hill just one time. It happens.
That's all that matters. It's the National Football League.
The Eagles took on the Little Giants, and Icebox dominated. And what are you going to do? Icebox, Jackson Dart, they have the same eye black. It's the same thing.
Wow.
Maybe we should be calling Jackson Dart Icebox going forward.
Icebox. Wow. So the Philadelphia Eagles are in the top 5, even though they have lost to the Giants. they don't have an offense. I don't know, man. Like, they can't run they can't do anything. Jalen Hurts can't throw. Saquon can't run.
I would bet any amount of money they will find their offense this weekend in Minnesota. It won't be hard for them to find it. They're going to turn around and give it to Saquon Barkley a bunch of times, and Kwesi's defensive line is going to get their ass kicked again for Minnesota. I have zero hope in that game. The Eagles are going to have an incredible get-right game.
Yeah. Why are we not considering the Rams more for number 2? What is it? Just because you hate them? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. What about the Rams? Good
offensive infrastructure. Very good offensive infrastructure.
With no Puka, how good is this team? Like, how long is Puka out? Do we have
I don't know. It sounds like he might play this week. You know what I feel like every time I look up at the TV that the Rams are on, Devontae Adams drops a pass. Like, every time I feel like I look up and it's like he's like spinning in the air trying to make a cool catch and he drops it. So we're definitely in late stage Devontae Adams. I don't know. They can run the ball solidly. Like, they should have. Dude, there's a world where they're 6-0 right now. They should not have lost to the 49ers. They shouldn't have lost to the 49ers, and they were kicking the Eagles' asses. Yeah. Like, that's now that you could also say, but they should have lost the Colts game if the guy doesn't just fumble the ball for no reason. Maybe they're 5-1. That's why that would be my argument that the Rams are the number 2 team in the NFL right now.
Interesting. I just don't. I don't see that Rams team going deep in the playoffs. I don't see them coming up with big wins. I'd be shocked if Matt Stafford doesn't miss a stretch of 3 games at some point this season with an injury.
We're waiting for that injury. Yeah, that's for sure.
The one thing the Rams defense feels like it's legitimately pretty good. That defensive front seems like it's good. Jared Verse is incredible. Kwesi had the chance to take him, and of course he took Dallas Turner instead because he's just atrocious at identifying talent. I mean, I can accept the Rams. Like, I maybe have blinders on with them, so I can accept that.
All right, so I think we just finally made a decision on the number 2 team in the NFL. It is the Los Angeles Rams. All right, so now who are we
I don't know that I was agreeing that they're the number 2 team, but for the sake of this exercise, we can move forward with it. So does that mean the Broncos are 3?
I was going to propose that we discuss the Lions and the Bills just a little bit more because those 2 teams are certainly coming off of a couple of disappointing weeks. The Bills have lost 2 consecutive games now, one at home against the Patriots, who, remember, you said we're not considering, which I do wonder if that might be wrong to not consider them a little bit more. And then the Falcons last night. And then the Lions are coming off of the poor performance on Sunday where they go down. It looks like they're going to get a touchdown and go up 7-0. They end up having to settle for a field goal because they had an illegal shift on that trick play, the pass to Jared Goff. Are we sure that one of those teams isn't either 3 or 4 at the very least behind the Denver Broncos?
I feel better about the Lions long-term. A loss in Arrowhead on a Sunday night football game is not anything to hang your head about. The loss to open the year in week 1 also feels like something you can kind of write off, as week 1 is not always the easiest to handicap or to get yourself ready to play for, as a lot of teams don't really use the preseason the way that they used to. So you could certainly talk me into the Lions, but I think they have their own subset of issues. Their pass defense is not nearly as good. Offensively, I mean, they've had 2 games where they didn't put up 30 points. So I mean, I think the Lions are really
2 games where they didn't put up 20 points.
Yeah, right? I mean, yeah, exactly. I think the Lions are really good at beating up average to bad teams. After that, that's where you kind of get into question. But here's the thing: the NFL is full of average and bad teams. So
I was going to say, yeah, that's a great point. Here,
incredible point differential. It's just, if they get a Tampa team that isn't at full strength, if that game was at full strength, I'd take Tampa over them without question.
And hell, you still might take Tampa over them.
Tampa might still win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a road game, and it's an incredible Monday Night Football game that I will be watching only the second half of.
I hate that it's at 6 o'clock. This blows. I'm going to miss some of it driving home.
Well, maybe if they would stop doing this double thing.
They will. This is the last year of this for people who
nobody asked for this. Nobody's like, I want 2 games on Monday Night Football. When the Falcons Bills game ended, I was like, I don't really want to watch Commanders Bears. I feel like I've had enough bad NFL this week.
Well, you have to watch more. You have to watch more, Schaef.
And at least that game ended on a walk-off and everything else. But
yeah.
Some of it was I had Caleb Williams is not something I want to experience a whole lot of. Every Bears quarterback is the exact same. It doesn't matter what their background is. They get to the NFL and they look like they've never played this sport before, even though they're just incredibly athletic. You hate saying things like this, but whether it's been Mitchell Trubisky or Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, something about the Bears organization, it's like they're the Monstars, and instead of taking talent, they take away brains. So these guys look like the dumbest quarterbacks in the NFL, even though physically they're some of the most gifted people to come through to play the position. Like, it's insanity to me. And then the Bears have what seems like a bunch of complementary pieces on offense, and yet they make everything look so fucking hard, even
every
with
week.
Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator. So it hasn't just been I don't know what it is about it, but man, it is just like pulling teeth for that offense to do anything. And then they have stretches of the game where it's like, oh, they look like they're really good. And then they turn around and they remind themselves, we are the Chicago Bears and everything has to be awful. So
it's wild how they have been able to pass down from our grandfathers and their grandfathers bad quarterback play. Like, this is the history of the Bears. It's not a recent phenomenon. It's not in our lifetime phenomenon. It's not in my dad's lifetime. It's in my grandpa's lifetime. Like, that's what we are talking about with the Bears. Going back to what you said about the Lions, their wins are over the aforementioned Bears by 31. They beat the Ravens by 8. And that was still, I would say,
the good Ravens.
The good Ravens, yeah. And then they beat the Browns by 24. They beat the Bengals by 13 in a game that they were actually up by more points in that game. And then, so, like, you are right in that outside of the Ravens win, which will not age well because the Ravens suck, they have not beaten anybody that we would consider a legitimate contender. But when they beat those teams, they destroy them. But when they play the two playoff teams, right, that they played this year, they've lost to. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Packers. And they lost
57-26 on aggregate in those games.
Yeah, exactly. They've lost them by double digits, by 2 touchdowns, essentially, in each of those games. I think you were correct about, I'm very forgiving of a week 1 loss because of the lack of preseason. And I will be, over the course of the year, I'm forgiving of the loss they had on Sunday because the Chiefs' backs were against the wall. They couldn't drop to 2-4. So, it is what it is. We're going to find out more about the Lions in the weeks to come, if they are a true blue contender or if they are a flawed team in a sea of flawed teams. Schaef, the thing that I wonder as we get ready to wind this thing down is, is it going to be this way all year, you think? Are we going to go into the playoffs? Because I was trying to figure out, the last NFL season that felt this topsy-turvy throughout, where we went into the playoffs all right, I guess let's just find out. And the closest comp that I can come up with is 2008. For those who remember, or those who don't remember, the Steelers...
we're wired the exact same way.
You think the same thing?
Sitting here, and I'm just like, the year where it finished with the Cardinals and the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And Gus Frerotte and Tavarius Jackson took the Vikings to the playoffs because the NFC was that bad that year. And then the Eagles won that game in Minnesota. I'm trying to think of
Eagles
what
went
happened.
to the that was the worst of the Donovan McNabb playoff teams, and yet they still went to the NFC Championship game.
Brian Westbrook was that was his heyday at that point.
The Giants were awesome in the regular season coming off the Super Bowl, and then they went one and done because famously Eli Manning never won a playoff game in the playoffs outside of the years he won the Super Bowl. And we got Cardinals Steelers because that was the Tom Brady gets hurt on the first couple plays of the season. Matt Castle leads the pass to an 11-5 record, but they still don't make the playoffs. That was the year the Dolphins were running
AFC rep. Yeah.
It was so the Titans were the 1 seed, but they lost to the Steelers. I'm trying to remember. They beat the Ravens, young Joe Flacco in the AFC. No. They beat the Jets because that was
right.
They didn't. No, now I'm mixing up some of my years. They beat the Jets later on. That was in 2010. Yeah, they beat I believe they beat.
Here's your teams. Your 1 seed Titans, 2 seeds Steelers, 3 seeds Dolphins, 4 seeds Chargers, 5 seeds Colts, 6 seeds Ravens. If you think back on Ravens, those were some good teams. Because you have Roethlisberger at the helm of things there. I don't know who the Dolphins would have been, but the Chargers would have been you're going to have
Phil Rivers,
and you're going to have Gates, and you're going to have Phil Rivers, and they were going to be good. The Colts would have had Peyton Manning at that point, 2 years removed from winning the Super Bowl.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that year the Colts lost a really weird playoff game to the Chargers, where what's his name?
23-17 it looks like, yeah.
I think their
coach
who was their Caldwell, I'm pretty sure he called a timeout late in the game, and Peyton Manning was on the sidelines like, what are you doing? Why did you just call the timeout? Like, completely gave them another opportunity, the Chargers, that is. So, yes, that is – so this season's going to be 2008, isn't it, where we're going to go in the playoffs like nobody is good, but somebody is going to have to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the 6 seed and the 4 seed were 3 of your 4 representatives in the championship game.
That is insane.
2 6s. Philadelphia 6, Baltimore 6. They both lost, but 4 seed Arizona and 2 seed Pittsburgh.
Yikes. So that's probably the playoffs that I think we're looking at. And God, not to make it about our teams, but just it makes me infuriated that the Cowboys have zero defense.
This is why you try to time this is when we need to play the young quarterback game instead of just signing Sam Darnold, and you'd be right in the mix with all the rest of these shit heaps in the NFL. But no, your GM's the smartest guy in the room. He can't draft Kyle Hamilton. Lewis Team's out there, and he can add another 6th-round pick before he takes him. I hate that fucking guy. I've never hated an executive as much as I've hated this particular one.
Yeah, I don't like my GM either, and he's also the owner, so he's never going to fire himself.
It could be worse. Could be worse.
Yeah, at least your guy could get fired eventually. My guy.
Well, they hang banners for him because he signed Andrew Van Ginkel, so he must be an outstanding GM.
There's one person that can fire my GM, and that person's name is God. That is the only person that can fire my GM, or I guess Satan, depending on which way you view things. Those are the only people.
I don't know if I want to get into the theology conversation here.
All right, perfect. That's National Fun League. I don't think we answered the question. Who are the 5 best teams in the NFL? TBD.
Well, I gave you my 5. You didn't even give me 5.
I'll give you a 5.
Yours had the Chiefs and the Rams in it, which I did not.
Yep. I'll go. Let's see. So who did we decide was number 1? The Bucs are number 1. I'm going to go Rams number 2. I will go Chiefs number 3. I will go. God, I hate this. Colts number 4. Broncos number 5. That is my top 5. That is the worst top 5 in the history of football.
We have 3 teams that are the same.
Wow.
We have the Bucs, the Colts, and the Broncos, and then you're 2 and 3, and my 2 and 3. Well, so I at least have the Broncos, but I have the Lions and the Eagles in there.
Yeah.
You don't have either of them in.
No. Well, yeah, I probably should have had the Lions in there. I don't know. This is Schaef.
Too busy glazing the cheese for winning a game. Did I use that right?
Yes, you did. That is good job by you. Look at us. Just a couple millennials trying to use hip phrases like glaze.
Yeah.
We're the old guys now, Schaef. We're the old guys.
All right, so real quickly, Matt Rule to the Titans. What are the chances here? We know that Will Compton spearheads a great relationship between both the Titans and the
he certainly does.
The Titans famously need a coach now.
Yep. Matt Rule famously loved his time in the NFL.
Nepo baby Brian Callahan's experience running a football team didn't go that well. It was a little disappointed they didn't make Bill the interim coach.
I know, me too. It's sad.
I would have liked that.
That team is a tire fire. They were not under consideration for number 1 team in the NFL. Who's worse, the Titans or the Jets?
The Jets.
They are 0-5, famously.
Do they play each other?
I'm looking at the schedule right now.
So
sadly, they do not.
I had 2 friends were out in Vegas this week. Actually, multiple of them were out there, but 2 of them, one's a Raiders fan, one's a Titans fan. And they spent like half of the year planning this trip out to Vegas to go watch that game. And that's what they watched between the Titans and the Raiders. The text I'm getting from them about how they're like attending the worst played football game of all time.
Gross.
That's my buddy disgusting. That's the Raiders fan is just like sending he hates Geno Smith so much. I wanted to buy him it was part of why he was out there. His birthday was this month. And I wanted to buy him like a Geno Smith shirt or something that he could just wear at this game and just really represent this guy that he absolutely hates. I think he might have been the more mad of the 2 and his team won.
Yikes. That's a bad time. You don't want to be that fan. G. Merle, as we go out the door, Schaef says, firing your coach the week of the Patriots game because the owner didn't want to lose to Vrabel with Callahan. Yeah, that's tough. That's
imagine having Mike Vrabel, who was just a consensus top 5 coach for me, even when the Titans weren't very good.
And
you fire him. And then the rest of the NFL, no one, like, I don't, how did it happen that the Patriots just sort of end up with this guy who's like an outstanding coach?
It's wild.
I love my coach, so I wouldn't trade for him.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have had Mike Vrabel. It feels like all the good things about Mike Zimmer, plus being an even better in-game coach.
Yeah, that's the thing. He is a floor raiser, and we talk about that a lot, right? Like, I think Mike McCarthy, very much a floor raiser. But one of the things that you get with Vrabel is also the in-game stuff. You don't just get like a better culture and a better overall operation. You also get the game day stuff that you don't get from a lot of coaches in the NFL. The thing that the long drawback, of course, for him has been his offenses aren't very good. But say what you will about Josh McDaniels, that guy's a pretty good offensive mind, and you pair him with a young quarterback that's obviously talented, and this is what you and Stephon Diggs, a top 34 receiver in the NFL, and this is this is what you get with the New England Patriots. So, yeah, it's weird. It's weird that he was on the sidelines for a season. Doesn't make any sense to me.
It's weird that your team didn't want to hire him. It's weird that I don't
get
it. And maybe he very specifically passed on other jobs and wanted this one because of the ties to the organization. That could 100% be true. But man, just he had the Titans on the doorstep to the Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill, an average defense, and Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, yeah.
Like, just incredible stuff.
And then he had him as the 1 seed. And those were 2 separate years.
Well, and
the AFC title
they never should have lost that game. Never should have lost that game to the Bengals. When Joe Burrow was writing his legacy and doing it by throwing for like 214 yards and his defense just getting him there for it.
Yeah.
That was another one of those years where, the Chiefs were a dominant team, but the Super Bowl we ended up with was a Rams team that I didn't think was that good, and a Bengals team where it just sort of inexplicably won 3 straight games in the AFC playoffs to then get to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, Patrick Mahomes has either lost in the Super Bowl, lost to Tom Brady, or lost to Joe Burrow. It's just like the weirdest thing that, of all of the oddities of his career, and like, not that Joe Burrow's bad, but like, that's the team that clipped
that
it.
Version of Joe Burrow wasn't that good. Like, that's the thing.
You were always on that. You were always like, this Joe Burrow is fine. Like, it's much more.
Well, yeah, like he's clearly a good quarterback. Like, clearly a good quarterback. But it's not like the version of him that's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL went into Arrowhead and won that game. It was a version of him that sort of was just like checking down and doing just enough while the Bengals defense just took over. Like, they just took over the entire second half. I don't know, it was Trey Hendrickson or what, but they were dominant in that game.
All right, so that's National Fun League, the top 5 teams in the NFL edition, and we had 0 answers. What a fun sport this is. That's why
it's a lot more fun doing that than talking about the games we watched this weekend.
Thank God, and thank God we didn't have to talk about the Cowboys losing to the Panthers.
You really didn't allow any Cowboys talk, and this was after we went through their schedule last week. And
you were right. You said they're not going to beat the Cardinals, and I said, no, they will, and now they are bad again because their defense they're wasting away the best stack season of all time. It's so depressing.
I was surprised the Panthers defense was able to limit the Cowboys to just, 24
27
points?
You get one stop, man. Like, and that's the thing. They had the last offensive drive of the game. It got off to a rough start, and suddenly they're behind the chains, and they had to settle for a field goal on the previous drive. Rats. All right, that's National Fun League. Mike Schaefer. Cowboys. Go Cowboys. That's what we're doing with the NFL. You have a lot of coverage going on because there's this open job now involving
in Tennessee.
School.
We've already determined Matt Rule probably not a strong fit there.
Yeah, but maybe at one of the other ones. Where can people go if they want great podcasts, a daily podcast perhaps, and great written coverage? The written word is still a thing. The Gutenberg Press. Thank you very much, Mr. Gutenberg.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
This is not an announcement, by the way, that 24/7 is moving into a magazine. I don't want to confuse anybody here. You're not writing a book or a magazine right now.
We're still Internet Ink only, so don't look for us in the
physical unlimited press. Ink on the Internet.
Yeah. Don't look for us in the physical press. You'll be a little bit disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah, so get over to Husker247.com. We have plenty of stuff going on right now. A lot happening as the season continues forward. Nebraska plays, of course, on Friday against Minnesota, and so we'll have the Husker 24/7 podcast, the Hypecast. We actually have an event this week that I want to plug. If you're in the Omaha area and you like good beer and you want to hear about Husker football, get over to Cross Strain on Wednesday. As myself, Michael Brunts, Brian Christopherson will be joined by Nick Hanley and Grant Hansen at Cross Strain for a 2-hour event. We'll be talking about Nebraska football, a little bit basketball, a little volleyball, but mostly Nebraska football. Yeah.
Basketball. Why?
Basketball season's coming, Josh.
Is this torture?
College basketball is
torture
right
people?
around the corner. No, there's no torture.
Don't
this
say
is
these
an
words.
Anti-torture group.
Okay, well, I don't like torture, so that's good. Basketball.
You're just pro-murder, not torture. It's a very important distinguishing factor about you.
That sounds fun. I know all of the people that you just mentioned, and I know cross-train. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a great time. That's Wednesday?
A Cornhusker Crusher. Yeah, so that's Wednesday from 5 to 7 at Crosstrain. There'll be prizes, raffle prizes, door prizes, that kind of thing. And, of course, there'll be great beer. And I'm told a food truck will be there as well. So
hello. Awesome.
Yeah, pop in anytime. Say hello.
All right, so get to 24/7. Get to Crosstrain on Wednesday for all of the great stuff coming up over the next few days here. A Volleyball State episode just went public earlier this morning for subscribers. You can find that on the Volleyball State feed. Jack Mitchell and I will be back tomorrow night with an I-80 Live. I imagine we'll talk a little bit about Matt Rule and what's going on there. We did a bonus emergency pod, Schaef, on Sunday night for subscribers only that they can find in their feeds right now. And if you want more of what we do here, patreon.com/ID Club. One of the things that you get with that is ad-free episodes in your podcast feed. So if you like what we do and you don't want ads, boom, become a subscriber, and there will be no ads in your feed. Schaef will be back a week.
I think you need to add a new podcast to your rotation. It should just be called My Bedside Table List podcast. And then every week you have a different person come on and they tell you the 5 coaches that would be on their list should Nebraska need to replace a coach at the end of November.
Incredible content.
It's just a different person every week. It can't be you and Jack trading off. You know, sometimes it could be me. It could be Matt McMaster. It could be Caleb Henry. It could be Ben Stevens. I mean, you've got plenty of people that work for you here in the I-80 Club.
That's true.
I think that you could make this thing roll out pretty nicely. And I suspect it'd be a popular podcast.
It probably would. All right. That's not a bad idea. I'll run this by Jack tomorrow, and maybe we'll add another podcast to our feed, our ever-growing.
Doing enough.
No, I definitely am not. I'd like to talk into a microphone even more. All right. So that's what we got going on. And then Schaef and I will be back next week for the Week 7 recap, as it's already going to be late October, which is insane to me as the season just flies on by. Schaef, good luck to you on your writing and talking this week. Have a great hype cast with whoever the guest is. And we'll talk to you next Tuesday after an Eagles-Vikings game. I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Anti-hype.
So for Mike Schaefer, I'm Josh Peterson. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thanks for joining.